So let's talk about you. Where did you grow up? Like, let's start with that.
Yeah, so I grew up in Billings, Montana, a couple hours east of Bozeman, and we were a big outdoor family. My dad came from a family of 9. There was 2 girls, 7 boys, and they grew up in the mountains outside of Sheridan, Wyoming, in the Bighorns. And so, growing up with that many uncles, all we did was just fish, backpack, hunt, kind of every second we got. And we were doing a lot of horseback trips, a lot of high mountain lakes, a lot of fishing, a lot of fly fishing. And then when I got into kind of that first hunting season as a kid, my dad at that same exact time got into competitive archery. And so when I was 12, I would go meet him every day at the local bow shop, and he was shooting every day at noon. He would take his lunch break from work just to go shoot, and I'd meet him down there. So we kind of started just down this big archery journey. So I was bow hunting, for deer and elk in Montana, like 12, 13, 14. And that became, my big number one passion for a long time was archery, elk, just like bulls screaming in your face.
There's nothing like it.
It's incredible.
There's really nothing like it.
Yeah, it is. I'm like so excited about it right now because, September 7th is our archery opener this year in Montana.
Yeah.
And there is just nothing like it. Like all hunts are amazing and there's so many amazing experiences, but there's something different about archery, elk, just those things running around bugling.
Yeah, I try to tell people that don't do it, what it's like, and they're just like, they just don't get it. You have to put them in that position. I think if you took people that just, don't hunt, right, and took them out there and let them experience that, they would pay for that experience.
Yeah.
Like that, to be in like a rut, like when those elk are really rutting hard and you catch up and you get into like a rut fest where like 2 herds kind of collide.
It's insane.
It's like they're just screaming nonstop at each other, and they're pissing on each other, on themselves, and they're raking trees, and it's just it's like Jurassic Park in there, is what I call it. It's like
it is like Jurassic Park.
Yeah, it's something to behold for sure, and I love it. So I absolutely love it. So I grew up hunting whitetail, so
yeah, I
always dreamed of hunting elk, and then finally when I retired from the NFL, I was able to obviously
get into it.
Obviously September.
In
when I'm playing, I'm not hunting elk. Like that's hunting quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So it was awesome to get that experience. So I understand when you talk about like the passion, and my wife will tell you, she thought, oh, he's going to retire and we're going to get to just hang out all the time now. And then of course I retired and immediately get bit by the elk bug, cause I bow hunted whitetail my entire childhood pretty much,
Yeah.
I was like, I killed my first deer with a bow when I was 13. So I fell in love with archery. It was the same way. As soon as I picked up a bow and shot it the first time, I was like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And then when you finally get your first kill, cause it's like, how whitetail are. I mean, it's like a mental game. You can't move. You have to strategically kill them. You know? And it is different from elk. You got to be strategic with elk, but like you can just outwork those dumb bulls. Those bulls don't have no clue you're there.
Oh, they just come in like drooling.
Yeah, and you can catch them doing stupid shit. Like deer, you really aren't going to catch them doing that. You got to trick their dicks or their stomachs.
Yeah,
it's really how you do it. And it was just always a different style of hunting for me. So getting to hunt elk, I just was like fully like locked in on it. And she was like, "What the hell?"
So a whole nother passion.
Yeah. What's bad is now I just killed my first mountain goat with a bow, and now I'm like addicted to that because that style of hunting is like so physically demanding,
high
difficult,
country,
and like the patience that it takes, to like keep going, and the fortitude it takes to keep going, and then the packing out and like sleeping on the ground is just I love it. Like I fell in love with it. I was up in BC,
nice,
with Aaron Snyder, and we just dude, it was.
Was that this year or last year?
I just got back. Yeah.
No way. Yeah. That's awesome.
It was incredible. And it was fun. When I talk about being in shape, if I was trying to be like a 300-pounder strong guy, like just being like a power lifter and, not training for the mountains, I would have struggled out there.
Oh yeah.
But I was able to like enjoy myself because I was in shape for it, you know, because I put myself through the type of training you have to go do that. So that's why I thought it was really cool what you're doing. But all right, so you grew up in Billings, right? And then you started bow hunting when you were like 12, 13.
Yeah.
That's usually like when guys start, you know?
Yeah.
So when did you kill your first elk or deer?
I killed with
a bow.
It's pretty funny because I killed my first deer with my bow that 12-year-old year. And it was a doe, but it's like one of my favorite stories ever because
they're harder to kill.
Yeah. We had
they really are.
We had this river bottom tree stand spot about 5 minutes from my house. And my dad and I were sitting in those stands like every night. And there was one night that my dad could not make it. He was stuck at work. And so I grabbed our family car and just buzzed down the road to hunt that stand. And I didn't think I'd get anything. And I didn't think my dad would ever notice that I stole the car to go hunting at 12 years old, but it was only like 5 minutes away because we lived on the edge of town. So I just kind of had to get down into the river bottom and walk to the stand. And so I ended up killing this doe with my bow. And I remember like the adrenaline just going through all my veins. And it was like extra special too, because like my dad wasn't there to help me figure out how to get this thing gutted and all that. So I remember I gutted it with an old Leatherman. And then
but you just hacked it to pieces.
Just hacked it. And then I had to drag it through the field and throw it in the trunk of the car. So so I threw it in the trunk, drove back home. And now I'm like
blood all through the back of the trunk.
Yeah. And I'm just sitting in the basement, just waiting for my dad to get home. And he pulls up and I could not wait to tell him, but I didn't really want to tell him either because I stole the car. And he knew before he came in the basement to see me because there was blood dripping out of the trunk of the car. So he like pulls in after work. There's blood dripping out of the trunk, and he like knew instantly what happened. But it was like, it was a pretty incredible, special moment. Like getting an animal with your bow by yourself, like that first time, it was awesome.
Yeah, I can relate. It's an awesome feeling. It's funny because like imagine if you lived in like the suburbs and somebody pulled up to your house and you had blood dripping out of the trunk of your car. They'd be like, "What the hell happened here?" You know, it's funny how just different cultures throughout the country we live in. Like guys that live in the suburbs or the city, like it's so foreign to them to see that lifestyle. So
yeah,